Hello, hi everyone, and welcome to NLP and the Coronavirus Day 40. And we're looking at law number 2 out of the Kybalion by the 3 initiates. And law number 2 is the law of correspondence, which in the Kybalion, they quote Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, and his quote or his axiom of as above, so below, as below, as above. What does that actually mean? What he's saying is that there is a correspondence between higher levels and lower levels. So, if we're just looking at that in one particular perspective, then, if we look from a Huna perspective, we have the spiritual level, the mental level, the emotional level, and the physical level. And what the correspondence or the Hermetic axiom of as above, so below actually means is, if we took the mental body, then there is a correspondence between the mental body and the spiritual body, as in they're the same, into the emotional body and to the physical body. So it's almost like these levels are actually mirrors of each other. So, the kind of things that we're thinking about is that things that are in the emotional level will eventually become manifest in the physical level. Things in the physical level will become manifest in the emotional level. Things in the emotional level will become manifest in the mental level. So we're saying there's a correspondence between all of them. Now, you might have heard this law of correspondence in different ways, because in the Taoist tradition, Chinese Taoist tradition, we have, as in the microcosm, so the macrocosm. The microcosm is inside of you. The macrocosm is outside of you. So they're saying that what you have inside is manifest outside, and what's outside is manifest inside. So a number of ways of thinking about that. This is where Carl Jung got the idea of perception is projection. What you perceive outside is a projection from inside. So you had a very inside-out perspective. But then, if you looked at the Chinese system of feng shui, then what feng shui has is that if you change the outside, the macrocosm, then it will change the microcosm, which is a outside-in perspective. And, even if you haven't really studied feng shui in that much depth, I think all of us had the experience of going like, right, I'm going to clear out that cupboard this weekend. I'm going to clear out the garage this weekend. And as you're clearing all of this stuff out, deciding what you're going to keep and what you're going to throw away, then you notice that memories come up and you resolve things inside of you. That's exactly the principle of feng shui. So we've got Carl Jung's perception is projection. If you want to change your perception, then change your projection. Feng shui, if you want to change what's going on the inside, change what's on the outside. It also appears in quantum physics, interestingly, in that Princeton eminent quantum physicist David Bohm had the idea that the universe was a hologram, and he talked about the implicate order and the extrapolate. The implicate and the extrapolate. The implicate order being inside, extrapolate being outside. And he said they were the same thing. And he said that, in fact, if the universe were a hologram, what was it a hologram of? And he said it would be a hologram of me. Same thing as Carl Jung with perception is projection. Yeah. And then, at the same time, as David Bohm was looking at this from a quantum physics point of view, then Carl Pribram, I'll just pull out his book from the library, was talking about the brain being holographic. So what you've got David Bohm talking about the universe being holographic. You've got Carl Pribram talking about the brain being holographic, which really is the same thing as the implicate and the explicit order. So what does this actually mean for us? What it means is that, we are connected with everything. We are connected with everything. We are connected with everybody in the universe. And the idea of being disconnected is an illusion. It's the idea of the holographic universe, which I know many of you have read the book, Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, which if you haven't read that, I really totally recommend you read that. That was one of the books that really shifted my thinking massively. Holographic Universe, Michael Talbot, is that, we are the universe. And this is a lot of where quantum physics is now actually heading. That's the law of correspondence. So there's a direct correspondence between what's inside and what's outside. If we looked at things being in different levels, like physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, there is a correspondence between all of those levels. So, for instance, we can bring, because of that correspondence, we can bring the higher levels of spiritual nature all the way down into the physical and vice versa. As above, so below basically says, I think quite often we as human beings believe that we are the pinnacle of evolution. It's almost like there's a triangle like that. And we are at the top of that triangle, and below us are animals, below that are like, fish, reptiles, insects, plants, rocks, etc. But if you take, the whole idea of as above, so below, then for what there is below us from an evolutionary point of view, there must be the same above. It's almost like there's a triangle going below and there's a triangle going outwards. And we, as the observer of that, if you like, are in the middle. We're not at the top. We're not at the bottom. And here's another way of thinking about it, A lot of people want to be number one. They want to be the absolute best, which means that they're better than other people. Yeah, that very comparative deletion, I'm better or I'm the best, is a comparative deletion which says that I'm up here and other people are below me. But because of the law of correspondence, no matter how far up that kind of like evolutionary scale, whether it be financial, whether it be mental, whether it be success or anything, you'll always find people that are more successful, that are richer than you. It's just one of those things. That's just the way it works. So it's really, a way of working with this is to become totally comfortable just being where you are. Yes, evolve yourself, learn more, become more successful. But, as soon as you go, my goal is to be better than other people, you're always going to wind up being disappointed, because you'll always find people on this law of correspondence that are better than you. And it will be a never-ending quest that's going to always be wound up in disappointment. So be happy where you are. Realize, yes, there are people down here. Yes, there are things here. Yes, there are things up here too to aspire to. Yeah. But as soon as you start comparing yourself with other people, then it's really not going to work. And ultimately, everything outside of you is inside of you, and everything inside of you is outside of you. That's the law of correspondence. So there we go. I hope that's brought up some ideas for you, maybe challenged your thinking in some ways. I got some great feedback from yesterday's, which was the law of mentalism. And tomorrow we'll be here for one of my favorites, because I'm massively into Nikola Tesla and all those kind of things, and he was too. The law of vibration. Law number 3 is the law of vibration. So wherever you are in the world, love you lots, and aho we hope.